Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. Now, for many of you know, there's a recent Baka Gaijin Friends that came out, of course, volume 24, featuring, of course, some interesting, fun, wacky matches that you ever seen. However, I did not know that there was another Baka Gaijin Friends event that took place in Manila prior before this one. Now, that particular show happened last month in August. And no, not Manila. Yeah, it happened in the Philippines and Makati City. Hopefully, I pronounced it right. Then, if I'm not, there we go. So those shows are going to be fun to watch. But of course, the main one we're going to be reviewing, of course, is NXT Homecoming. As you all know, NXT began their journey in Full Sail, which is the venue that's been home during the black and gold era of NXT. But the real question we ask ourselves, who will be making the return to say hi to all the people of the NXT universe? That's going to be a lot of fun. So I can't wait to review this one for all of you. And then, as always, we'll cap up our episode, as usual, with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers. Let's get started. Classes in session. So, as you know, I mentioned Baka Gaijin Friends. Well, they make their appearance in the Philippines, which is going to be a lot of fun to take a look at. So we're going to see what wrestlers we don't know about. So they actually collaborate with Dexcon. So let's see how this goes. So let's get started. Okay, first review, Baka Gaijin and Friends. Now, many of you may know this is a promotion that's run by none other than Chris Brooks, who's been living in Japan for many years, and of course, he's one of their top stars in DDT Pro Wrestling, and he's been making appearances um, in Choco Pro, and of course, the idea comes from that, you know. But however, Baka Gaijin and Friends made a appearance in the Philippines, more specifically in Makati City at the Philippines at the Social House. So basically, not only him and Chris Brooks, and along with Takeshi Masada were the only ones that were there. Majority of the wrestlers are from the promotion Dexcon. Now, many of you may not know this promotion. This is a promotion based out of the Philippines, mostly in Manila. So, yes, folks, there is wrestling in the Philippines in case anybody has been living under a rock. So, they collaborated with them. I've been aware of this promotion for quite some time. There have been wrestlers that have been wrestling there, like Zack Sabre Jr., I'm trying to remember who else, possibly Robbie Eagles, who I know loves the wrestling in the Philippines, and that's pretty much it. So, this event happened last month on the 22nd, I think, yeah, the 22nd of August. So let's get started on this one. Our first match is tag team action. We have Robin Zane and Crystal taking on Go Patricia Gaia, hopefully I pronounced it right, and Dr. Gore. Now, for those who are not familiarized with Dr. Gore, many of you may have seen him or may have heard of him. That I mentioned him a few times. He appeared in a lot with Thailand promotion, set up Thailand Pro Wrestling. He also appeared in Choco Pro before, as you know. Set up and Choco Pro do have a bit of a history with each other, that sort of thing. But it was a very interesting matchup. I wasn't too sure because, like I said, I don't know a lot of these wrestlers, but they're very impressive, you know. But this match ended in a submission. Go Patricia was submitted by none other than Robin Zane, and just like that, she tapped out. It was completely over. Our next match is a three-way. We have Danny Zamora versus St. John Martin versus Nigel Saint San Jose. Like I said, I don't know much about these guys, but they're very interesting wrestlers to find out. I mean, seems that the people of the Philippines actually know who these guys. If you're from there, you know exactly who to cheer for. But I can tell you that this match ended with Nigel pinning Danny Zamora, and just like that, it was completely over. Next match, we have a singles action. We got a guy named El Catipunero versus Fabio Makising. I don't know who the hell these guys are, but it's interesting to see this guy, Catipunero. He was the only one with the mask in this event. So it's interesting that some wrestlers in the Philippines are using that same tradition that we see, of course, in Mexico, in Japan. I think we're seeing that also in certain other promotions in Asia. I'm not 100% sure, but yes, it was interesting. Like again, I'm not familiarized with these wrestlers, but it's a very interesting matchup. But this match ended, of course, with Fabio defeating El Catipunero with a DDT. I think it was a DDT, and just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. Now the main event, we have a tag team. We have Isaiah Valencia and Jake De Leon taking on Takeshi Masada and Chris Brooks. As you all know, these two guys are part of a faction alongside Masahiro Takanashi and Antonio Honda, but they were not present. But it was a really fun match. I have to say that I really enjoyed watching this match because they're bringing that whole spirit of Baka Gaijin and Friends into the Philippines, and I'm glad that Chris brought that up right there because people get to enjoy a type of feeling that we normally get. Because if you guys watch Baka Gaijin and Friends along with Choco Pro, you can tell these guys don't have a ring, and it's kind of weird what they do, but it's fun, actual fun. But I like how there were some miscues from both sides in this matchup, but in the end, it was Masada who was able to pick up the win when he pinned what's his name, Jake, when he applied the Falcon Arrow, I believe, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But I have to say, it was really fun to watch. You know, Baka Gaijin and Friends interacting, collaborating with the Filipinos promotion, Dexcon, and I wouldn't be surprised if they would love to do it again. I mean, it's a fun event, I'm not gonna lie. But we'll see how things will go. But as of right now, we are not done with Baka Gaijin and Friends. So let's move on to the next show, which was the recent and latest one, Volume 24. As we continue with more with Baka Gaijin and Friends, this is Volume 24. This is their latest show that came out just recently. Now, there was a bit of a change up with one of the matches. Apparently, one of the matches was supposed to be a three-way tag team match, featuring, of course, Charlie Evans and her boyfriend, Connor Everett. But due to the fact, if you guys remember, recently, Connor Everett was supposed to be appearing in Choco Pro, but the injury put him out of action to that. So that was changed up, but Charlie Evans continued to appear. However, the match was later changed into a very interesting, wacky match. The first team that comes out, it was a six-person tag match. We have Princess Ram, portrayed by Ram Kaicho. We have Dark King Yuiki, played by Antonio Honda. And then there's Munich, portrayed by Chris Brooks. And their opponents are, in fact, well, Munetatsu Nakamura dressed up as Chris Brooks. Chances that. And of course, Takayuki Ueki dressed up like Antonio Honda, and they're joined by Charlie Evans. But there was a very fun moment. But however, there was a bit of a situation. Apparently, Chris Brooks almost had a wardrobe malfunction. Apparently, his pants were about to drop, so they had to pause the match for a little bit, and then later they had to jump into another segment to kill time for Chris Brooks to handle that. And that, of course, many of you who've seen Antonio Honda, he always stops by saying, time out, and then he does the stories. Well, however, in this kind of match, well, Takayuki, actually, who dressed up as Antonio Honda, decided, you know what, I'm going to portray Honda. So he decided to do the stories. Honda, who's like, what the hell, man? You don't know what you're doing. So you can tell that whole thing was really kind of interesting. But, however, in the end, it was, of course, Yuiki that walked away with the win when he applied a schoolboy on Honda, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Now, our next match is a no disqualification match. A very interesting team up. Now, those who know, there's these two guys called Mr. Bueno and Mr. Malo. So you can tell there's like, Bueno means good, Malo means bad, if you're Spanish speakers, if you guys know what I mean. However, there seems like there was a mix-up where they have to team up with another set of tag team with each other, and that is Seiko Tachibana and Kuroshio Tokyo Japan. So basically, as you know, those two like to team up a lot, but now they had to be separated. Tachibana teamed up with Mr. Malo. Kuroshio Tokyo Japan had to team up with Mr. Bueno. So you can tell that certain dynamics were like conflicted in the way the match was being portrayed. But at some point, Mr. Bueno and Kuroshio Tokyo Japan were able to get along. However, I don't know what the hell Kuroshio Tokyo Japan was doing. They had one of those cones that you see on the side of the road when that they need to block an area. Well, Kuroshio Tokyo Japan was about to take a dump on Tachibana. You're like, what the fuck? Yeah, that's exactly what happened. He was intending to do that. But Mr. Boy was like, what the hell, man? Don't do that. But because of his arrogance, he ended up being rolled up by Tachibana. And just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. I'm like, what the heck was he doing? I mean, he completely had this crazy mind, whatever he was trying to do. But he was going to use the cone to do that. So, don't ask me. Now, our main event, we have Kota Sekifuda taking on Yuya Mayoki, played by none other than, of course, Mao. So Mao, as you all know, whenever he's appearing in these events, he likes to dress up. And many of you who don't know, like, what was it, a year ago or so, he dressed up like Tam Nakano when Unagi appeared. So he's like that type of person. And he even tried to portray the character himself as perfectly as possible. But of course, some members of the who were on tonight's roster were kind of like showing up in his support. And of course, he was able to pick up the win when he seems like it looked more like he was doing a lariat, but I wasn't too 100% sure. So I just marked right down that he did a lariat, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But like I said, it was a pretty good show. It was wacky, of course. I understand that there was changes in the card, but it was fun. I enjoyed it so much. So that's pretty much it. What happened with Baka Gaijin? We're officially done with them. So let's move on with our last review, and of course, I think this is the one that many of you have been hoping for. Of course, is NXT Homecoming. All right, NXT Homecoming. Now, for many of you who know what NXT Homecoming is, and you guys are in the right bus. Now, for those who are new, who are not familiarized with NXT, let me give you a brief history about them. Homecoming is where they return back to their old venue, their old stomping ground, which is Full Sail, which is a university in Florida. This is where, of course, the black and gold brand was there that was ran by Triple H. Many wrestlers that came from there, such as Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, um, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Io Sky, those type of wrestlers. Many people often say those were Triple H's people because that's where they come from. Now, you all know the history how Triple H was removed due to the fact that he had failed to defeat AEW during the Wednesday Night War and later replaced by other people, and one of them later turned out to be Shawn Michaels. And we're not denying that Shawn Michaels did a good job. He did a fantastic job running things. Now, of course, the show opened up with Triple H coming out telling people that he's home, that talked about the past, Full Sail, thanking the fans for supporting NXT, and of course we got Shawn Michaels, as you all know, who is currently running NXT. However, of course, there's that itching where it comes out where who is the better person that ran NXT? And the person to say that in a way kind of like tried to say, let's make it happen, is of course William Regal, because he declared war games. A word that we love the way he says it. However, later we did see Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, who were alumni of NXT, and Charlotte Flair made a good, compelling point. For many of you who know this, NXT, their women's division was the backbone of NXT. And me, I agreed with, because there were people that say that they had some great women in NXT. Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks now goes as Mercedes Moné, Io Sky, Bailey, a few others. So, and of course, she does, if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. Suck it. So, you cannot deny that she's not wrong, because she's right. The women's division in NXT was the backbone. So, now, however, we jump in with, of course, with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, who are current WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. They defend the belts against The Culling, consistent of Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame. Now, of course, you probably would have expected that they would cheat their way through The Culling, which they have been doing for quite some time. However, Tatum Paxley ended up on the wrong side of Sister Abigail, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Bliss and Flair remained as champions. Now, Soruka and Zarya are in the back watching this, very disappointed they didn't participate. Zarya was trying to say, that it should have been us, and they're like bickering over each other. But however, Lainey Reed, who is competing for the Women's Speed Championship that is in the possession of Soruka, was trying to say, forget about your tag partner. But however, Lainey Reed has another opponent that she has to consider, is Candice LeRae, who also wants that belt. And then, of course, out of nowhere, Shayna Baszler shows up out of the blue. And, of course, she tried to get Soruka and Zarya to see, look, you guys got something special, okay? I've been with many tag partners, but it's like she's saying, this one is something unique. So she's telling them, fix it. I mean, I have to say it's a pretty good storyline to tell. Now, our next match is a tag team match. We have Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes reunited once again. They take on DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, which of course many people love this team. I mean, these guys were, in my opinion, one of the best wrestlers during the black and gold era of NXT. Of course, the match was fantastic, not gonna lie. But however, the match took a drastic turn. Out of nowhere, The Miz attacked Johnny Gargano with the skull-crushing finale, and leaving him there in time for Carmelo Hayes to apply nothing but net, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Hayes picked up the win. Now, another NXT alumni showed up, and that is, of course, Sami Zayn, our current United States champion. Kelly Kincaid was asking him if there was any wrestlers that, of course, that he's been watching on, and of course, Amongst them was Javon Evans. And of course, Josh Briggs shows up going like, hey, you're wasting your time with this guy, you know? But of course, Javon Evans attacked him. But Sami Zayn decided to talk to him, saying, hey, bro, listen to me. You are talented. I can see a lot of potential in you. But remember one thing. The sky is the limit. So he believes in him. Because right now, Javon Evans in a state of funk because he was unable to win the NXT Championship. And Josh Briggs is saying, you had these opportunities, bro. Just give it up. But Sami Zayn is telling him, dude, you can. I have failed many times, but I didn't give up. And then he showed him, of course, the United States Championship, which he's telling him, if I can do this, so can you. So that's exactly what it was. More like, showing him, don't give up yet. You got it. You're almost there. Now our next match is for the NXT North American Championship. Tyler Breeze, who has declared himself to get this title, faces off against Ethan Page. But however, in the crowd, we have Hijo de Dr. Wagner, the current AAA Latin American champion, watching on. Remember, Ethan Page was part of a four-way match for that championship, but unsuccessful. But he felt like that his destiny to obtain this belt was denied. And of course, Wagner is trying to get into his head. Now, of course, things went okay in the match, not going to lie. But Ethan Page was able to walk away with it when he applied a cutter using the ropes as leverage. And just like that, he didn't use it, but he used the ropes as to keep him in a position where he applies a cutter. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. However, Ethan Page is watching. The Hijo de Dr. Wagner is right there. He's like trying to tell him, I see you, pal. I'll be coming for that belt. That sort of thing. I wouldn't be surprised if that belt will be defended in the next Worlds Collide, if that's the case. So we'll see what happens. Now, Damian Priest, as you know, is talking with Tavion Heights. Tavion Heights, who is now on the verge of chasing the North American title. He's talking to a former champion. So Damian Priest was like, dude, I won the championship. You should know, when I won this title, I actually went to a hot tub that was right there in the parking lot. He's like, really? There was one there? Yep. So he tells him, and listen, I talked to Ava, you and Ethan Page for the championship, the North American title at No Mercy. Now, I don't know what Ethan Page has to say about that. I'm pretty sure he was unaware of that, but I have to say, it's great to see certain talent from the old guard of the NXT are looking out for the newer, saying, you guys got this, don't worry. Now, we did see, of course, the Waller effect, talking to Obafemi, and, of course, Ricky Saints, who will be facing off each other for the NXT Championship at, of course, No Mercy. However, Trick Williams, as you know, he still had unfinished business with Obafemi. Despite the fact that he is the current TNA World Champion, he will love nothing more to obtain the NXT Championship once again. However, of course, Grayson Waller decided, how about we have you two face each other in a winner-takes-all match? Meaning, of course, both championship from two different promotions will be defended. So this is going to be a very interesting thing. Mike Santana is like saying nothing has changed. He still has his sights set on the TNA World title. But we'll see what happens. Now, Charlie Dempsey was talking to Ren Sinclair, telling her that she's going to be spending a month in Japan. But he's telling her, don't do anything stupid while I'm away. But of course, out of nowhere, here comes Glorious. That's right, Bobby Roode. And then Joe Hendry showed up. And of course, Bobby Roode told Joe Hendry that he should be aiming for the NXT Championship. And it feels like a bit of embarrassment for Charlie to watch this. It's like kind of funny. But yeah, so that's exactly what happened. Now, Lexis King, as you know, who is an unapologetic jerk-off, decided to say that the black and gold era of NXT sucked in that sort. However, someone from that era was not taking this too kindly, and that is, of course, Finn Balor. He shows up, but unbeknownst to Lexis King, he was taken out by Miles Bourne, and just like that, it was over. Now, Kelly Kincaid did an interview with Dark State, of course, until they were interrupted by former NXT champion and also an NXT alumni, of course, Montez Ford. Now, Montez Ford talked a little bit about his history, but he tells them, you guys still got targets in your back. Cutler was about to say, oh no, we're not. He was about to say the name, and Dark State knows you cannot say it. So I thought that was a real fun segment. So it was really funny. Now, the main event is a 6-woman tag team match. All members of Fatal Influence, Jay-Z Jane, Fallon Henley, and Jasmine Nix take on Lyra Valkyria, who is taking the spot of Tiffany Stratton. She teams up with Stephanie Vakir and, of course, Mommy Rhea Ripley. Now, of course, you all know that this was going to be an awesome match. But one thing that was interesting, Jay-Z Jane was like, I'm not facing against Rhea Ripley, but someone decided, oh, hell no, girl, you're not going nowhere. And that is, of course, Jay-Z Jane's opponent at No Mercy, Lola Vice. And the referee didn't see what happened because Lola Vice gave her a back fist. Enough time, of course, for Rhea Ripley to try the Riptide. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, adios, it's over. So, basically, Jay-Z Jane is now in that position where she is worried that she could lose the NXT Women's Championship. So we'll see what happens until then. But as of right now, we are officially done with NXT. Let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So just to let you guys know, we don't have any developments for this part of our episode in the news updates section. So we only got upcoming events. So let's begin, of course, with the GCW updates on their upcoming events. As you know, next month in October 4th, they'll be making their appearance in Anchorage, Alaska for The Last Frontier. It was announced that the GCW World Title will be on the line. Effie will take on Chris Wilde. I don't know who that guy is, but that's been announced. And then, of course, there's the Hartford, Connecticut event that will be taking place on the 7th of November. You wouldn't understand. 4 names have been mentioned that they'll be participating. Effie, Matt Tremont, Atticus Cogar, and Marcus Mathers. So those names have been mentioned. I'm pretty sure there'll be more coming up soon. And then finally, we have the Green Mountain and Me that takes place on the 9th of November in Vermont. They announced Shotzi Blackheart will be participating. Now, for those who live in the area of California, most specifically in SoCal or in San Diego, if you guys are interested to attend, of course, the Tijuana promotion, The Crash, they'll be having their next event on the 3rd of October at the Auditorio right down there. They announced Nicho El Millonario. Many of you may know him as the original Psychosis will be there. And then we have Tinieblas the third, which is, of course, a third-generation wrestler. So he's going to be participating. The next MLW show that will take place on the 4th of the 10th called Slaughterhouse. They announced of course, more on the Opera Cup tournament. And this time is the quarterfinals. They announced Místico will take on Último Guerrero. And then finally, West Coast Pro had their upcoming event called How the West Won. That takes place on the 1st of November. We're going to see a bit of a classic old young guns, old young lions meet up, face each other. And that is, of course, Gabe Kidd taking on Kyle Fredericks. Many of you remember him as Eddie Thorpe in NXT. He was part of the Young Lions too in New Japan. So it's interesting to see that. So I am kind of interested in seeing that match. So we'll see how things will go. But as of right now, we're officially done with everything. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we got more with WWE Evolve. We're going to see what happens in the aftermath. As you probably know, Jackson Drake retained the Evolve's championship in a 3-way. But the real question is, where do we go from here? So I can't wait to see that. Now, as you know, AEW are now in the cusp, of course, of heading straight to All Out in Toronto, Canada. So as you probably can guess, they're probably finishing up with their latest events for the, of course, the 2300 Arena, which is the home of the legendary ECW promotion. Well, let's see how things will go as they finish up. I can't wait to see what's going to happen for that. But as of right now, we'll leave things as it is. Now, I'm not sure if I'll be able to watch any other reviews I can do due to another matter that I need to do. But the priority is WWE Evolved and AEW Dynamite. So those two are the priorities that we're going to focus on. Now, I did mention a couple of times I'm going to try to catch up with the Yoshi Wrestling events that I missed out for who knows how many months. But I may have to change up on certain events, mostly coming from Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling. So we'll see how that progresses. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed this, something personal with me. Do you notice anything new about me? Oh, yep. If you guys haven't picked it up, got new glasses. Yeah, it was time. It's been a while since I had some newer ones, but I just got these recently, and if you guys saw my last episode, I was wearing these same ones. I like these glasses. They're pretty good. They're also transparent. They go dark in the outside, but I'm excited to wear this. So that's enough of me. But as I said, for the next episode, the priority is WWE Evolved and AEW Dynamite. But I'm not sure if I'll be able to do any other reviews. But if I'm not, I apologize. We'll leave things as it is. But as of right now, I will say this, and I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.